Minute's silence being respectfully observed by all who are able to get led into the Grand Reserve this evening. Of course, as I'm sure you've heard many times over the weekend, fans not allowed to come back to community sport just yet. But we're hoping that this stream can be the next best thing and that we can all say hello to you very soon. We'll get straight into the starting lineups for both sides, starting off with the hosts, Kingston City, where a big change has been made by head coach Kontangalakis. After a couple of difficult weeks in the sticks pre-lockdown, Rani Dawisha, the long-time number one, has been dropped, and in his place is Sermon Sadakovsky, who will start for the first time in quite some time for Kingston City. Rounding out the rest of the lineup is 5, the captain Faisal Sakazada, who returns gratefully so for Kingston back into the starting 11. 6 is Philip Petreski, 7 Cooper Legrand, 8 is Jerry Cavadas, 9 Trent Skapetis, 10 is Mose Wed, 12 is Dante Conte, 22 is Simo Jovanovic, 23 the other half of the Skapetis duo, Peter Skapetis, and rounding out the 11 for Kingston, 77 Stephen Hatzakostas. Meanwhile, for Brunswick City, it's a no change in between the sticks, going with the regular starter Jordan Gifkins in between the posts. Number 3 is the captain George Michaela, 4 is Darby Dexter, 5 Yoni Lipschatz, 7 Nicholas Gonzalez, 8 is Thomas Biss, 14 Costa Emmanuel, 18 Austin Wong, 24 Kobe Timms, 28 Lucas Oliveira, and all the way up in 92 Ivan Diadamo. Kingston will start off with possession. It's Legrand trying to head that one forwards. Free kick given away in the front third. And they found themselves, Kingston, at this venue right before the lockdown, as we were mentioning before, Dean, 4-0 down inside the first half. So I'm sure that Kontangalakis and co will be hoping for a fast start as forward comes Yoni Lipschatz out of defence. Now it's wide to Emmanuel. He's brought down, legally so, in the eyes of tonight's referee, Oliver Bannister. And now perhaps counter-attacking can Kingston City.
It's Jack Morgan in the middle.
It is Jack Morgan. I was going to say, it couldn't possibly be Oliver Bannister because the haircut and the moustache to go with it would be a lot more noticeable. No disrespect to the trim of Jack Morgan. Apologies for misnaming him there, but not quite on the same level as what Oliver Bannister has got at his disposal, the big mullet. Controlled well by Oliveira, looking for Gonzalez, who was making the overlap. Ivanovic will put it out into touch.
Jack Morgan's second game back off a little stint this weekend. Obviously, A-League referee, and he decided to take about 4 weeks off pre-lockdown just to get his body ready for this recommencement.
I think I'd speak for many watching on in terms of referees in NPL Victoria. Jack Morgan certainly one who's good enough to earn himself a rest, that's for sure. Brunswick, ball on the far side. That was Gonzalez twisting and turning nicely. He's hemmed into a corner. A little bit of danger from Kingston, but they do work it clear. It's Diadamo who makes the interception and then it gets himself collected. A pretty physical challenge. He will get the free kick from the aforementioned Jack Morgan. An early free kicking opportunity for the away side. They go flat. Hit straight into the wall. It stays alive, however, momentarily for Lucas Oliveira. Good pressure in that time from Cavadas. Kingston again will try to move in transition. Skapetis losing out that occasion. Oliveira. Nice little back heel. Brunswick have worked the ball out wide. There are options in the penalty area, all of them being missed with that cross. Petreski will collect on the left side of defence. Once that ball to Legrand. It's a little bit over his head. Moswed gambling on it. And winning possession for his side. Skapetis of the Trent variety across to Peter. Does like to cut inside and shoot. Instead goes across. Legrand. Touch was a little bit errant. Brunswick get out of jail just a little bit there. A better touch from Legrand. Kingston may well have had an effort on target as now forward comes Costa Emmanuel. Held up again by Petreski. That's an interesting battle emerging early. The errant touch from Legrand. Ball in behind, looking for Oliveira. Kingston City wanted the flag. Linesman on the near side was unmoved.
What a start to the game, Lachlan. And to end very early on. But Cooper Legrand needs to sort his first touch out. And very sharply, it's cost him a little bit, but I guess that's what happens when you've had a bit of a spell off with injury.
Has had a little bit of a spell out. But, you know, a few errant touches notwithstanding, certainly more than welcomed back into the fold for Kingston. Already has 6 goals to his name in what, up until about 2 rounds ago, was a very free-scoring Kingston side. 31 goals in the NPL2 so far. Cross is sent in flat, cleared away by the first line of defence. Will fall once again to Legrand. He's got a challenge there from Kobe Timms. Ball in behind, asking a lot of Moswed, but he's got the pace to find it. The cut across is to Skapetis, laid off to Cavadas. Great block from the Brunswick City defence. Chance still alive. Peter Skapetis. He tries that clip ball across the face of goal. He finds Swed this time. Another player who likes to cut in and shoot. Instead, it's gone to Skapetis, who fires it past the low post. A good early chance for Kingston City.
And that's the free-flowing Kingston City of the old pre 2 weeks ago. They're so dangerous on the counter-attack. Cooper Legrand did a fantastic work to hold the ball up and then slip Moswed in. And 2 great chances for Kingston, but Brunswick survived with a great defensive block and then a shot just wide by Trent, who Kingston did miss against Goulburn Valley. Obviously got suspended in that Bulleen game. So I think they'll be very happy to have him back.
Extremely happy. Keep your comments coming through if you are watching on the Facebook live stream. Don't keep your comments, but keep watching if you're on the YouTube as well. Both very valid places to be tuning in. We welcome you if you are on either page. It's Brunswick City had their house rattled by that earlier chance. Trying to create one of their own.
And Lachlan, if you're Kingston, you want to get a couple of goals early, obviously, in this game with Brunswick's bench. You've got at least a 20-goal bench coming off. Obviously, you've got Lysandro Paz, Nathaniel Foster, and Jesse Macarunas, all 3 very dangerous attacking players. And what a bench, in other words.
It really is phenomenal. I mean, as commentators, we do like to exaggerate and embellish a little bit, but I don't think a 20-goal bench is that much of an embellishment. There really is a lot of attacking quality on that bench for Brunswick. A few handy players on the Kingston bench too. We'll go through that bench setup for both sides in a second. As Cavadas back to Hatzakostas. Nice little shimmy in the middle of the park. Did he get it through the legs there of the defender? I think he did. Skapetis into Cavadas. He's had a lot of the ball early. Crosses flat. Sakazada will collect. All the way back to Sermon Sadakovsky. And a welcome back to starting 11 football. Sermon Sadakovsky, one of the best and as a fellow goalkeeper, Dean, is it fair to say most respected number 2s in the NPL setup?
I think he would have to be one of the most respected and best number 2s in NPL setup. He's been around for a very long time. As Petreski wins the ball there.
Stuff from Phil Petreski. Inside, Cavadas. A little outside of the foot pass is good to Peter Skapetis. His pass not quite as on point, and Costa Emmanuel was the player picking that up now. Lipschatz, good challenge in from Zwed. He got up quickly trying to keep the ball in play, but it was always rolling away. Physics, not the friend of Kingston number 10 on that occasion.
Just a little fun fact on Sadakovsky. His last game he played with Jack Morgan in the middle as a referee was when he was at the Dandy Thunder, and he got sent off when they lost 8-0 to South Melbourne. So hopefully it doesn't have those type of memories this evening for Cetera and Kingston, but just a little fun fact there.
I'm sure given the issues that the goalkeeping spot has presented in recent weeks for Kontangalakis and some errors that have led to goals, I'm sure he'll be very much hoping that's the case too. Legrand tries to poke it through the pocket to Transkapedis. No good. Actually think, from memory, the last competitive in an NPL capacity game that I can remember Sermon Sadakovsky being involved in was the NPL Victoria Esports Live FIFA 20 lockdown competition last week, where Sermon made the final, in fairness. It was a handy player. He took a few by surprise.
He used to be housemates with Mo Zwed, so maybe he learned his trade from there.
Oh, he certainly could learn a thing or two from the E-League man, Gonzalez. Hit low. Sermon Sadakovsky was a little bit nervous for a brief moment. Not too much danger in the end. The shot coming in from Austin Wong. It's great to see Austin Wong getting consistent run of games this season. Of course, we all know what happened to him back in 2019. He was in new colours. Only made it to round 2 before a pretty nasty knee injury. Great to see him back out in 2021, getting regular minutes. Various lockdowns and all that sort of stuff notwithstanding. Gonzalez had a few to beat and was scrapping for it on the deck. Cavadas has shown he's up to the task so far, although falls victim of the commentator's curse. It's bouncing around just over halfway. Petreski with another good challenge. Despite the cause of no foul, Brunswick City forced to give it away. That time, Costa Emmanuel the guilty party.
It's very interesting, this back four for Kingston. Obviously got Phil Petreski out on the left back and then Dante Conte at right back. So it's really two midfielders playing in those positions, which is quite interesting.
It was handball given away. Transkapedis, the infringer. Not too many complaints from Kingston, as that was Oliveira gambling on that one. At the time it was Conte who won the ball. Sakazada. Back to Sadakovsky. To say, Oliveira is returning from an offside position. It was a very half-hearted effort to pass the ball forwards. I think he knew the linesman's flag was coming. I was going to say, though, that so far, no doubt Kontangalakis would have wanted a response, and I don't think they've got the game by the scruff of the neck, but he will be pleased so far with what he's seen from his Kingston 11 on the park currently.
Yeah, look, I think it's a lot better start first half as that ball gets clipped in.
Lipschatz looping that one over the top. Gonzalez was ready and waiting. Jovanovic always physically advantaged in that particular battle. That was played forward by Austin Wong. Back to Wong, and again, player in that Brunswick forward line is flagged for offside. Sermon Sadakovsky showing no patience, launching that forward. Peter Skapedis being given one to chase. Played straight out by Jordan Gifkins. Bit of a surprise to see him knock that one out. There wasn't a heap of pressure on him. I guess the Kingston City players were slowly creeping forward.
Yeah, look, it was a great press by Kingston. It all started from Sermon Sadakovsky's quick free kick. The start of this half has been a completely different Kingston side compared to what we watched against Bulleen, and then Goulburn Valley. So they've taken the game to the front foot, and it is what was much needed for Kingston, and they've started like a house on fire.
Been impressive so far, relatively speaking. Need to make this ascendancy count. Gone close already. What can they do from this corner? Sakizada was rising, missing. Hatzakostas will come on the follow-up. Once again, Brunswick make the clearance. Cavadas, dipping shot. Could have bounced up and caused a bit of problem for Jordan Gifkins, but I think he saw that one well and was able to get down to it. Really cut it out before it made the dreaded bounce that you hate to see happen right before you, I would imagine, as a goalkeeper.
They're the worst type of shots to face. Obviously, it took a little deflection. You don't know if it's going to drop early and bounce up and hit you in the face, but Jordan Gifkins, a fantastic goalkeeper, has done extremely well there, and it's about time to see Jordan Gifkins get consistent minutes week in and week out, and he made a smart decision to leave Melbourne Knights, drop down a division, and he's benefited from the decision, and he's been extremely well all year.
He was battling for that number one spot at Knights with Harry Chakaran for the 2019 season. I think, as you said, Dean, getting those consistent minutes in this Brunswick City side, who, you know, they are level for first points-wise at the moment, but with 2 games in hand over the rest of the league, or a game in hand plus tonight's game as well.
I guess the live ladder as it stands is...
That would put them ahead. No, you're not wrong. So they are now 1 point ahead of Pascoe Vale. But they really have been, I wouldn't say head and shoulders above the rest, but maybe ahead above the rest. So that's a risky challenge laid in, straight into the book. For that challenge is George Michaela, the captain, earning himself an early caution. Justified, Dean Manow?
Yeah, look, I think it was a bit late. Fair enough for Jack Morgan, but maybe just letting the law go down early and letting you know next time you do that, or if anyone does that, this is the standard of tackles that we don't want to be seeing.
Certainly not one to mess around. Jack Morgan. Hatzakostas. Laid forward. The run is supplied by Peter Skapetis, who's trying to hit the line, has his initial cross blocked, and not much you can do about a double team. Jovanovic clears that one away, only as far as Nicolas Gonzalez. Good pass wide from Costa Emmanuel to Lucas Oliveira. Liked it from distance again. It got that bounce that you don't like to see as a keeper, but didn't have the power from that range to really make a relatively untested Sermon Sadakovsky too nervous.
Yeah, look, I think Kingston at the minute, their defensive shape has been superb, and that's the only type of chances Brunswick have had it is by shooting from distance. So Tangalakis would be very happy with that within the first 15, 20 minutes.
Well, that had the look really of a shot in frustration, if anything. It was just kind of a hit and hope. Certainly a sign of the way the game is poised. Hitting the line, Trent Skapetis, the cross. Cooper Legrand was waiting for it. Kobe Timms made the clearance. That'll all end in a goal kick for Jordan Gifkins. As I mentioned, it's not quite a perfect double-header in the NPL2, but about as good as you can get for Monday night football. Of course, this game taking place an hour, or 45 minutes rather, in advance of the other Monday night NPL2 clash. Bulleen Lions playing their obligatory Monday night fixture at the Ven against Northcote City. They have gotten a few results recently against fancied opposition higher up the table. Kingston City would know all about that. Do you give them a chance against Northcote?
Look, I think, as I've stated in the past, you just never know on a Monday night at the Veneto Club. They're undefeated at home at the minute since the new appointments of Fasto and Nick Crivelli. So you just never know what will happen. But you never know. There's been some weird results this week in MPL, so it makes it interesting.
Certainly has been some strange ones. Plenty of exciting football to bring to you, even if you are watching from home as opposed to in the stands where you may rather be. Maybe not. Maybe you'd prefer watching the stream. I don't know. Hatzakostas. Little turn. Brought himself under a little bit of pressure from Oliveira. Play continues.
Just on that, Jordan Gifkins has done that twice now. He's taken a touch and tried to clip it with his left foot. Very uncharacteristic of Jordan, but it's the type of way Brunswick want to play, always out from the back, so controlled build-up.
Looped forward and knocked away by Darby Dexter. Bit of pinball exchange between the two centre-backs. Still waiting for a player to bring it under clean control here. Austin Wong launches it forward, and finally we get a nice clean first touch, this time from Costa Emanuel, who's done his marker, and Petreski will cross it in. It bounces all the way across the face of goal. There are a few waiting for it, but no one could get the contact required. That would have provided Brunswick with a goal that would have been a fair distance against the run of play. But it was a tantalising cross in from Costa Emanuel.
That's just the quality Brunswick hold up front. Obviously, they got out wide and they cut it back across goal in a dangerous area. It could have never been a Kingston person that tapped that into their own net, and they're the type of balls that you hate facing as a defender and a goalkeeper.
Played 20 minutes here at the Grange Reserve, UFO Park, whatever you want to call it. Still goalless, but Kingston City in the ascendancy, at least for the moment. Sent forward. Lipschatz was making a bombing run inside. He'll stay in the front third as now Emanuel does play it across. Lipschatz, another cross low into a dangerous spot in the penalty area, but cleared away by Kingston. A few promising flashes from the league leaders. Emanuel just giving Petreski a little bit of a shove. Basil Sakazada is unfazed. Clears it straight away. Lipschatz. To Dexter. Now it's with Wong. It's being double teamed. Swed and Petreski for company. Sakazada put under pressure by his number 6, and Sadakovsky send that one into the night sky. Bringing the flick on was Trent Skapetis. Eventually, after a scrappy few minutes, we've got the ball back on the deck. Jovanovic. Over the top, it was Legrand trying the touch. He missed it, but Peter Skapetis will pick it up. And he's done one. The cross evades, or the pass rather evades Legrand. Went to Cavadas instead. Skapetis goes low and cleans up in an effort to win back the ball. Nibbles at the heels of Kobe Timms, and a pretty easy decision for Jack Morgan.
Yeah, very unnecessary foul there by Trent Skapetis, but Kingston City looking very good at the minute.
Again, those transitional phases when a player can win their one-on-one, it just creates so much space and gaps further afield, and that was a nice little shimmy, and that was nearly a careless error from Kobe Timms. You don't want to give Trent Skapetis any golden opportunities the way he's been finishing this season. Dexter sauntering his way out of centre back, nearly turning it over. Played cleanly over to the far side for Biss. Michaela now to Oliveira. Biss has come central. Oliveira is looking for the angle to cross. He'll head again towards the byline. In fact, he went direct. And the shot over the bar in the end, but probably Brunswick's best chance of the game so far.
Yeah, look, it was a great opportunity by Oliveira, but I think it was meant to be a cross, and he's sliced across it a little bit and made it look like a shot. But once again, Brunswick had plenty of numbers in the box and just couldn't find that final quality ball.
Certainly seeing that they are starting to turn the screw just a little bit. Of course, the points today valuable to both sides, but probably more valuable to Kingston than to Brunswick. So they're desperate to get themselves out of the band of teams in the NPL2 who are locked on 22 points. They're one of 4. Of course, they're the highest placed of all of them, but Northcote on 22 with the game to play tonight. Goulburn Valley and Langwarrin also deadlocked in that zone, as that's a free kick given away by Dante Conte. Jack Morgan quick to signal, and a very promising one for Brunswick when they'll get to take it. Biss appears to be, or did appear to be, in a heap on the turf. Back up. Looks as though he's going to take this free kick as well. Very swift recovery.
Magic air.
Biss will clip that one in nicely. Cleared away by the first line of defense. Only as far as Gonzalez. His shot held up by Cavadas. Sprays that ball outside. It's Peter Skapetis with the chance to cross the block. Falls out to Petreski. Skapetis gets a second bite at the cherry. Cleared away this time by Lonnie Lipschatz. Sakazada. Great switch, controlled well by Peter Skapetis. Very threatening when he can run at defenders. He goes inside this time. Ball sprayed across to Petreski, who can hit them. Instead decides to invite the cross. And it wasn't inviting enough to tempt anyone into making a real fist of it. Difficult one for Hatzakostas. Does well to keep control of it. Skapetis has space to shoot if he wants it, and he does go for that idea, but doesn't get the execution right.
Yeah, good passage of play there by Kingston, putting Brunswick under the pump there, and just unfortunately couldn't manage a shot on target.
Certainly proving a threat so far in this game, Peter Skapetis. When you add him with his brother, certainly become quite the handful. Do you reckon they play better because they're together? Is that a thing? Or is that just a superstition? Not sure, I've never played with a sibling.
It's look, it's the first time they've ever played together, funny enough. Obviously, Trent was at Stoke for a very long time. Sorry, not Trent. Peter was at Stoke for a very long time, where Trent was playing non-league. As Moswed takes a shot, and he's tested Jordan Kivkins at his near post. It was a good save by the keeper.
Yeah, it was the right idea from Zwed going low at the near post. Maybe just didn't have enough pace on it to really trouble Gifkins. But credit to the Brunswick number 1, who did well to get a right palm down to it. Again, welcome all the comments coming through on the Facebook live stream.
Shout out to Malvern City's Rat Pack. As you say there by Peter Papadopoulos.
Attacker saying, very good game. I think in the commentary box we can only agree with you. It has been an exciting one, befitting of first versus fourth in this league. First versus third on the live ladder, in fact. And the shout out to Daniel Isaac as well, who says the special comments is quality. And I can only agree. I can only agree, Dean.
Thank you, Daniel, all the way from the Gold Coast. He's had some good memories here, Daniel Isaac. As a fourth official, he would recall sending Nick Tolios off. And then Nick Tolios told him he looked like the bloke off American Pie. So, good memories for him, I guess, here at the Grange.
Former Peninsula boy as well, Daniel Isaac. So I'm familiar with that comparison. Costa Emmanuel, the player receiving treatment at the moment. as we head towards the 30th minute of this game. Still 15 minutes away from kickoff. Bulleen Lions at Northcote out in the eastern suburbs. That game will not be streamed tonight, but we will do our level best to keep you abreast of all the scores in that game. And as you mentioned earlier, Dean, there has been some pretty crazy ones over the weekend, particularly in the NPL2, the relegation six-pointer, as they so often do in a weird sort of circumstance, between Werribee and Manningham, ending in a 2-2 draw. Credit to Manningham, though, they were 2-0 down at half-time. Did very well to claw it back and make it 2 apiece and keep themselves within touching distance of Bulleen. I think it's 2 points that separate.
Yeah, I believe it's 2 points at the minute. Obviously, Bulleen to play this evening. But, yeah, look, I think it was wherever you'd be kicking yourself. You've come here to Kingston in the past and got points, and unfortunately, you just can't see out games at the minute.
It was a golden chance gone begging. Werribee not a side that could afford to cough up any points. Speaking of coughing up points, another team in the top 4 conversation, Pascoe Vale, did exactly that against North Geelong on the weekend as well. North Geelong stringing together some good results of late.
Yeah, they have been. Obviously, once again, a new gaffer came in and has managed to find out what he's ticking down there at North Geelong, and their skipper Ryan Opperman's managed to turn the boys around. That's
Wong as his shot come off the back of Simo Jovanovic. Certainly the post manager bounce in full swing at Elko Park. Again, it's Wong across to Gonzalez. He also likes the shot from the edge of the D, and he also likes the claim for the penalty refused by Jack Morgan as the bicycle kick effort comes in well wide of the goal from Lucas Oliveira. Nicholas Gonzalez was pretty convinced that he had legitimate cause to a penalty. Dean, did he have a case to make?
I think it was ball to hand there. It was 2 yards away. He's blasted straight into him. It's not like we're playing beach volleyball here at the minute. So I think it was the correct decision by Jack Morgan.
Punted away by Sadakovsky. I think, having watched the replay, I'm inclined to agree. Nicholas Gonzalez, you always appeal for them, but I think it would take a far less eagle-eyed referee than Jack Morgan to give a decision like that.
Yeah, correct.
Turned well, Wong, nice little inverse ball is cut out by Hatzakostas. It's a careless little mix-up there as coughed up possession straight to Gonzalez, who again likes the early shot. They're getting a lot of efforts from the edge of the penalty area, not making them count just yet, but if it takes a deflection, if it gets a nick, if it's a decent strike, could well be a different story.
Yeah, look, it was uncharacteristic, but I think Hatzakostas was very unlucky to hit Safa, and the ball bowled out to Gonzalez, but once again, the shot goes just wide of the post. Just on that, Lipschick, just reminds me of, have you ever watched Suits?
I have watched Suits.
Dr. Lipschick? The psychologist?
Oh, man.
Look,
that is the mark of a quality special commentator, a player who has game analysis and cultural references. Paramount Plus, sign him up. Good turn from Wong, whose influence in the game has grown as the half's gone on. He's lost that one though. Skapetis, Trent of course, who's angled himself a little opening here. He continues to drive. Now it's poked through. Zwed has options in the penalty area. Didn't get any of them. Brunswick make the clearance. Again, it's in transition that Kingston are proving to be so dangerous.
Yeah, a great break once again by Trent Skapetis, running at players and then slipping Mo Zwed in. But once again, defensively, Brunswick City had so many numbers in the box. They can do it at tackling, and they've done it defensively, and it's so hard to break down.
Certainly got some tall timber who could make a fist of this cross that will come in from Petreski. Not the best effort though. Cleared away by Michaela. Petreski. Hatzakostas. Tries to tease that one in. Wins the headed battle with Gonzalez. Rosewood is applying pressure onto Yoni Lipschatz, and that's a beautiful, sharp turn to evade the defensive attention. Pass, connecting the move, not quite as good. Of course, the more complicated part was really easy, and the simple part was the bit that went missing. Go figure. Cavadas. Sakazada. Petreski has space on the left-hand side. Comes centrally instead to Trent Skapetis. Just got held up by Costa Emanuel. Lucas Oliveira goes down. Wanted the whistle. Jack Morgan refused to give it. Kingston will try to profit in the confusion. Legrand. On the edge. Again, if he wasn't going to give the earlier infringement and challenge on Lucas Oliveira, I don't think he was going to give that one to Cooper Legrand.
No, I'm not sure these referees have had any run like Jack Morgan this year if they're falling over for free kicks like that. No, they need a little bit more contact to win a free kick.
Michaela looking for Oliveira. Gonzalez at the edge of the area. The touch was errant. He'll get another crack at it. It flashes wide. It's a little bit ugly in the final effort from Nicholas Gonzalez. Just bobbled along the surface, but gave Sermon Sadakovsky a little bit to think about.
Yeah, a little bit of heart-and-mouth action there from Seto, but once again, the story of Brunswick's night this evening, a shot just gone wide. Seto hasn't had to make a save, while Gifkins had made a couple of saves, so maybe the quality off the bench for Brunswick might be able to change the game for him, but time will tell.
Dare I suggest a few heavy touches in pretty important moments in the penalty area for both teams now, for a number of different players. Maybe just a little bit of lockdown rust.
Yeah, it's always hard to... Most of these teams probably... I guess on the Monday you could have had pushed in another 2 to 3 sessions compared to a lot of teams last week. If they were playing Saturday, would have only trained for Thursday. So the standard of football's actually been surprisingly quite good.
Very competitive. Timms. Out to Biss. Quality player at NPL2 level is Thomas Biss. He's flicked that one through to Michaela, who's found space on the right. The cutback is to Gonzalez. Again, the touch is errant. That one's to Wong, shot low. And Brunswick City, they just keep on keeping on in the NPL2. It was a beautiful move down the left flank. Crucial were the efforts of Biss and Michaela. The shot played in, or the cross played in rather, to Nicholas Gonzalez. And it was Wong supplying the final finish. And his first of the season gives Brunswick City the advantage at the Grange Reserve.
Yeah, good finish by Austin Wong, but as soon as that ball got played to Gonzalez, you thought after that heavy touch the chance was gone, but Kingston City just left Wong all by himself in acres of space, and a good little finish at the near post under Sermon Sadakovsky. Not much you can do about them, but Brunswick lead just before half-time.
Again, another situation where Nicholas Gonzalez got his feet mixed up just a little bit as the ball was coming in, but if anything, it kind of worked to his advantage, because that defensive confusion left Austin Wong unmarked and set him up for an easy finish at the near post. So Kingston now 1-0 down with it all to do. Legrand attempting to control. Marshalled well by the Brunswick City defence. But you have to say, they've been coming back into the game as the half's transpired, but that does feel a little bit unfair on Kingston.
Yeah, look, I think it is Kingston's first shot on Brunswick's first shot on target, and they've scored. I guess you would have to feel, if you're Contagalakis, a little bit disappointed and unfortunate, but that's the game of football, isn't it? You've got to take your chances when they present to you.
It's not always the kindest of games, it's football, and not particularly kind to Kingston City, at least in that moment. Costa Emanuel. Ball on the right, cutting in. He wants to open up an angle instead. Goes to Biss, played back. Wong, fancy doubling his money from distance. One sails over the bar and onto the roof of the Kingston City club rooms.
Looks like Brunswick have found their mojo again. They've started after that goal extremely likely. In the last couple of about 15 minutes or so, they've looked like they're going to score a couple of goals. So Brunswick, Kingston need to be very, very careful now.
again, not to lean on the cliches, but is it not the mark of a quality team to be able to score when you're not quite playing at your level best? Cross sent in by Gonzalez. Flicking at it was Darby Dexter. Legrand making the clearance eventually. Stays with Brunswick. Michaela. Of course, it was his cross. So crucial in getting the Spartans the advantage they currently hold.
I think that yellows, it's because it's Trent's second time. He thinks he's playing beach volleyball. He obviously did the one earlier in the start of the half, and now, yeah, but he's got to be very careful now. Obviously, last game he played, it was 2 yellows, so Kontagalakis might look at taking him off at half time, but we'll see how we go.
If I'm not mistaken, in that game as well, the first yellow was similarly needless. It was a foul.
The ball away, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. So it was something that didn't need to happen. So certainly something to keep aware of. But you know, when you've got Olympic fever, you've got Olympic fever. There's not much you can do about it.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Channel 7 on Rio. Not Rio, Tokyo.
Not to take it too far away from football, but Dean, as a goalkeeper, have you watched any of the water polo?
I have.
The goalkeepers in that sport are so impressive.
That sport in general is just impressive.
Yeah.
They're absolute athletes. How they can stay afloat after all the kicking and grabbling that goes underneath to still produce power to get up and shoot is ridiculous. So it's very, very interesting to watch.
Yeah. As you mentioned, Kontagalakis, the goalkeeping spot has been a bit of a problem for Kingston recently. They could do worse than picking up the Greece water polo keeper. He was phenomenal against Hungary as that cross evades all manner of bodies in white shirts. Fortunately for Sermon Sadakovsky, hasn't been bad or made any errors to speak of, but hasn't really had much to do because all of the shots that have come in, save for the goal that he couldn't really do too much about, have been wide of the frame.
Yeah, agreed. It was the first shot on target, as I said earlier, and it managed just to sneak in under Sermon Sadakovsky, but you can't do much about that from that type of distance with that many penalties in the way.
Tripled forward, the overlapping run was coming from Ivan Diadamo. Flick on from Legrand. Giving one for Skipetis to chase. Safe to say, he didn't quite believe in that one. Wasn't really hurdling after it with 110% efficiency. Oliveira again likes the shot from distance. It was dipping, but not quite enough to really cause a threat.
Yeah, well, another opportunity from outside the area for Brunswick, and thankfully for Sarah Sadakovsky, it sailed over the bar, and Kingston once again are very lucky.
Sadakovsky. Cavadas misses it. Get a second chance. Doesn't quite do enough with it. He's still scrapping for it. Jovanovic hoofs away. Timms. Straight over this time to a deflection. Looked as though it might have been heading for a Kingston City corner. Gifkins was alert. Stop the danger.
Audacious effort by Trent Skipetis on the half volley there, but as they say, I guess if you don't buy a ticket, you're not going to win the raffle.
In fairness to him, we have had our fair share of audacious efforts this evening. Been 1-0 on the scoreline in favour of Brunswick City, but not for lack of trying. It's a corner won by Thomas Biss. Kingston City with a corner to defend. Brunswick looking to double their advantage. Diadamo was trying to control it. Had a little bit too much venom on it at the back stick for him to really get a foot near it. Coming towards the end of the first half. As it stands, Brunswick City will take a 1-goal advantage into the sheds. If you're Contangalakis, what are you saying at half-time? Are you urging for more of the same? Are you making changes?
I think, yeah, it's got to be more of the same, I guess. Just be a little bit more clinical up top and sort your first touch out, I guess. As the fourth official has just indicated, 2 minutes of extra or stoppage time.
Oliveira keeps control of it and floats it nicely into the path of Thomas Biss. He's got space on the left. Elects to head inwards. Twisting and turning, now back to Michaela. He'll float that one in, invitingly, but not for anyone in particular. I think in terms of options that you'd want attacking an aerial ball, Nicolas Gonzalez, respectfully, not necessarily the player you'd want on the end of the cross. He's certainly been impressive when he has been on the ball. Of course,
Yeah, you never know.
it's true. So
never know.
sometimes they can surprise you.
They could elude you. That's why everyone thinks, don't worry about the little man, and he pops up and scores a header.
Yeah, now that I've said it, he will go on to score a header, guaranteed. Free kick is given to Kingston City. Costa Emmanuel is remonstrating, not in a malicious way by any sense, with Jack Morgan, who instantly shook his head. No doubt that is a free kick to the team in red. Kingston City, of course, for those maybe less versed in the NPL Victoria, perhaps watching on from overseas or interstate.
I really like Brunswick's kit. The white and gold just does it for me, I reckon.
Both Brunswick kits, all of the Brunswick apparel, they're not sponsored, but Armadura do a cracking job.
George Crew, what on?
As they have done of the Brunswick kits this season. Nice centenary badge as well. It was supposed to be for last season, but using it this time around, and that also looks fantastic. Into stoppage time now. The game still with plenty of life in it. Brunswick with the advantage on the scoreline, but a fixture that still is very much in the balance. Kingston have shown enough to suggest that they could score at least one, if not more. I think Brunswick have proved that they can score one, if not more. I think maybe in for some more goals in the second half. Jovanovic lets that one roll pretty harmlessly out of play. And that'll be the last action of the first half. So it is Brunswick City taking a 1-goal advantage into halftime, courtesy of Austin Wong. It was a game where Kingston, needing to show a response after a difficult last month of fixtures, did come out of the blocks quickly, but slowly. A first half that really did seesaw and was an entertaining contest for the neutral. The scales did start to tip back in favour of Brunswick City as the half turned on. They did turn the screws and eventually found the breakthrough through Austin Wong, cementing their place atop the NPL2 table as things stand. Dean Burnett, your thoughts on the first 45 that really has delivered a lot of excitement?
Yeah, it was a cracking 45 minutes. Kingston came out with a bang, and Brunswick started off a little bit sluggish, but towards the end of that second half started showing their full attacking presence, and I'll be extremely interested to see what the substitutes come off the bench in the second half, like the likes of Lissandra Paz, Nathaniel Foster, and Jesse Macaronis.
We'll definitely be hoping for plenty more and continuing where we left off in this opening half. We'll join you again in 15 minutes. You'll be able to say hello to the countdown clock. We'll see you for the second half shortly. We're back here at the Grange Reserve in Clayton, where a game is being led by Brunswick City but remains tightly poised as two teams battle in the top end of the table. Of course, Brunswick holding a 1-goal lead over Kingston City. We believe them to be preparing a change, and it does come through now. It's Peter Skapetis whose race is run. Mark Offair who makes his way onto the field. He'll be looking to join a Kingston City attack who in the first half couldn't find the back of the net, but certainly showed signs of life. Dean Manette.
Yeah, look, I think Kingston created a lot of good chances in that first half, especially the first 20-25 minutes. They were the better team, I'd reckon. But Brunswick City, towards the end of the first half, they got their foot back into the game and created a lot of chances and deserved to be 1-0 up.
I think certainly Brunswick gave Kingston a little bit of not a lesson, but maybe a parable, a small lesson that is why they are at the top. They're able to make their advantage count, something that Kingston couldn't do inside the opening 20 minutes. Let's see how they start this second half with one change already made. It's Emmanuel who was hitting the line there, battling with the halftime substitute Mark Offair. Came across from the Northern New South Wales Premier League back in 2020 from Western Bears, of all places. He hasn't cracked out a starting role, difficult to do in that Kingston City attack, but he's been very valuable off the bench this season.
Yeah, he's still very young as well, so he's a good young raw talent, and he's impressed when he has played.
Petreski, the cross had willing recipients in Swed and Trent Skapetis, did not have the accuracy, however, to find either of the two. As we mentioned, Monday Night Football, always a big staple in the NPL2, particularly this season. Two Monday night specialists. More on that later as Gonzalez will poke that one across, looking for Lucas Oliveira. Good clearance that time from Simo Jovanovic. Collected well, sprayed across. Thomas Biss uses the instep to control. He's under pressure from Dante Conte. Inside to Wong. Wong sliding, not quite winning the ball. Now Kingston City. Skapetis has spotted the keeper off his line, but did not get it on the desired line to really trouble Jordan Gifkins. But really, this game has been approached with a shoot-onside policy.
Yeah, look, I think maybe both gaffers at the start of the game said just as soon as you see the goal have a ping, Trent Skapetis would have had Jordan Gifkins scared a bit there, the way he raced back, but once he realised it was offline, he sort of calmed down a little bit.
Never one that you want as a keeper. I think you could ask the entire nation of Scotland all about that sort of thing if you remember back to the Euros. Sent forward. That one a lot less nervous for Jordan Gifkins to collect. So I was trying to say before, Monday Night Football, a big part of the NPL2. Skapetis tries to find the gap at the near post. He did find the stanchion, but it was the wrong side of the net, unfortunately. But a chance out of nothing as Skapetis and Mo Zwed combine.
Yeah, great chance there by Peter Skapetis, Trent Skapetis, who hits the side netting, but fantastic build-up play and a good run in behind.
Now that Jordan Gifkins sets himself to take the goal kick, I will try for the third and final time to mention that there are two Monday Night Football matches happening right now. Brunswick currently leading 1-0 in this one, and over at the Veneto Club, Bulleen and Kingston locked at 0-0. Gifkins missing that initially. Offair will gamble on the 50-50. It's back on the edge of the penalty area for Kingston. It's Cavadas trying to open up the angle. Instead goes to Petreski. The two midfielders exchanging a 1-2. The ball to Zwed offline. Kingston City putting up a good fight though.
Yeah, look, I think they've started the second half really lively. And they could potentially be at 1-1, but unfortunately they haven't just found that quality finish yet. But Brunswick got to be wary.
showing signs. Certainly Skipettis can threaten well and threaten often. Didn't find the back of the net, or rather found the outside of it before, but has found the opposite end and got at the right side of the post 8 times this season. One player we probably haven't seen enough from, and maybe it's because he's still coming back from injury, is Cooper Legrand. And here he is on the ball, now gets a chance to show what he can do. It's pushed wide to Zwed by Cavadas. Little flick up. Zwed trying to cut in. He gets a little bit of the defensive clipping on the way through. But I think he was expecting the contact and went down pretty easily in the eyes of Jack Morgan.
Yeah, I think he went down a little bit too easily there, and rightly so, Jack Morgan waves it away.
In the meantime, Brunswick City have got themselves a free kick. It'll be Ivan Diadamo to stand over it. Nice backspin on that ball forwards to Thomas Biss. Oh, it's to Oliveira, in fact. Now it's with Biss. Still Biss has the overlap of Michaela. The cross first time, not as sweet as the one that helped him to set up Austin Wong's 37th minute goal, which currently separates home and away sides. There's an errant first touch again from Cooper Legrand. He was trying the little first time flick pass in behind the line, but not quite getting it. And neither was Nicholas Gonzalez as he tried to gamble on that ball forward. Cavadas lining up from range. Again, that just seems to be the hot zone of the pitch. The space in front of the clubhouse end, in front of the penalty area, is the place where both the Spartans and Kingston so far in this second half have shown a propensity for shooting. Unfortunately for Kingston, not one that's borne fruit just yet.
Yeah, look, that end, they must want to have a shot towards it, and a lot of the chances from that end of that half of the pitch has come from outside the area, so hopefully we'll see a couple of more.
Legrand wanted to spray it out to Mark Offair straight away, not quite on the same wavelength. Good pressure from Offair though. Gets a few sparse claps from Kontangalakis and co on the bench. Cavadas just loses out. Sent forward. Not particularly accurately, and Lucas Oliveira gave up on it quite quickly. Skipettis. Held up by Diadamo. Screened the back four well. That's a strong challenge from Kobe Timms. Certainly has a bit of bite in it this game.
Looks like Brunswick are going to make their first change.
So it's Costa Emmanuel, the player coming off, who prior to the goal was a pretty promising attacking light for the Spartans. In fairness, though, his replacement is not too shabby by any sense of the word. It is number 10 for Brunswick City, Jesse Makarunas, making his way onto the field. Gee, it must be awfully nice for the Brunswick City coaching team to be able to bring on a player, not only a former A-League player, but a midfielder who's scored 6 times this season in the NPL2. And there's still plenty of quality left, is the crazy thing.
Yeah, exactly right. Jesse Macarinis is the first one to come on, but you've still got Nathaniel Foster and Lissandro Paz. As Moswed goes down, holding his knee, so he's obviously just come back from an ACL. Hopefully it's nothing that bad.
Fingers crossed. Really is about the last thing I think you'd want to see Moswed doing on a football pitch, is holding onto the knee. Given recent history, no doubt he'll receive some medical attention before too long. Swiftly back onto his feet, that's always a good sign. Even if there is a slight limp. Players are calling for medical attention. It took its time to make its way onto the pitch, but it does finally arrive. Limps his way off the field. It's, to say, from this distance, not looking great for Moswed. The fact that he's able to get up, promising, but the severity of the limp, not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. There are, of course, still plenty of options for Kingston to bring on if they need to. Giordano Marafiotti seems like a pretty obvious option. They've also got Josh Miller, Anthony Giannopoulos, and, if they're feeling really wild, Ronnie Dowisher as well. But we do get back underway. Kingston, for the moment, will play a man reduced. Skipettis missing that header. Michaela and Trent Skipettis come through the back of him, and Brunswick take the free kick quickly. Gonzalez inside. Kingston brought the pressure. Couldn't get the stop. Now they do. Good work from Sakizada, the little feint, allowing him to play back to Sadakovsky, whose clearance is poor, and Biss will try to take full advantage. It bounced at an awkward height for Sadakovsky, but luckily there was no one nipping at his heels there. Dean Manera, as a goalkeeper yourself, that is, you must have a lot of empathy for Sermon Sadakovsky in that sort of situation.
Yeah, look, it's an awkward situation there. Obviously, he miskicked the cross-field pass. Kontagalakis would have had his heart in his mouth there for a couple of minutes, but thankfully for Sergei Sadakovsky, he survives.
He's not always the most outwardly emotive manager, Kontagalakis, but even he would have been showing a few nerves and a bit of fear as that patch of play went to hell in a handbasket for Sermon Sadakovsky. Off air. He'll win it back, much to the chagrin of Darby Dexter, who thought he'd won it cleanly. And unfortunately, Moswed is unable to continue to send our well wishes to him from the other side of the field in the commentator's box, because he's missed enough football through injury. I don't think he needs much more time out. He's such an enjoyable player to watch when he is on. But he's off for now, and it is Giordano Marafiotti who comes on to replace him. That is an acrobatic clearance from Faisal Sakizada that certainly did run the line of legality. I think in the end he does give away the free kick for a high boot. But it was on the borderline.
He hesitated there for a minute, Jack.
Perhaps
And he's booked him, but I've just watched the replay. I think he's ducked his head into it. He knew it was coming. I guess high foot's high foot, isn't it?
I think maybe perhaps Jack Morgan just pausing, because the clearance itself was pretty impressive, even if it wasn't quite within the laws of the game.
Yeah, 100%. It was a great acrobatic. It looks like Lissandro Paz is warming up as well on the far side from Brunswick.
attacking cavalry continues to make its way on for Brunswick. Substitution still pending. Of course, it is a strong bench, as we've mentioned. Maybe a little bit surprised to see it as strong as it was, but Jesse Makarunas coming back from an injury that he picked up against Werribee a while back, so great to see him in the fold and on the pitch. And we may well see more attacking reinforcements for Brunswick as they look to put this game to bed. Although really, so far in this first half, and I know that the commentator's curse struck in the previous 45, but if you're looking for a goal, Kingston have probably been the better odds, or actually the shorter odds, in fact, in this second 45.
We said that in the first half as well.
It's true. That's why I'm tentative to say it, because I am cognizant of the fact that Brunswick currently have a free kick, for which there are a number of threatening bodies, not least...
the sub has been made. Paz has just come on.
And Kobe Timms, and Lissandro Paz will come on for Lucas Oliveira and get a chance to be a threat straight from the off. Cross is high, collected comfortably by Sermon Sadakowski, so Lissandro Paz and co will have to wait for another chance to test the deputising Kingston goalkeeper for tonight. Kayla lets that roll out of play for a Spartans ball. Still goalless over at the Veneto Club. 30 minutes played in that one. 62 minutes played in this. And if you missed the opening 45, you can head back and watch the goal that currently separates Brunswick and Kingston, scored by number 18 for the Spartans, Austin Wong. A goal definitely worthy of going back and having a look at, maybe even a second viewing if you were with us in the first half. A well-constructed goal. Michaela gets a bit of friendly fire. Legrand is given one to chase. Dexter always alert to it. Expect nothing less from the experienced defender. Kayla sends that one out of touch. He was under a lot of pressure. There wasn't a heap that he could do there.
No, yeah, it was a great press by Kingston, getting him into the corner and just didn't allow him to play out, so it was well orchestrated.
Little flick back to Marafiotti. Now to Trent Skapetis. One-touch play from Kingston can only force a first-man clearance from the Spartans' defence. And that was Thomas Biss charging forward, and not a well-disguised tactical foul at all from Simo Jovanovic.
Yeah, well worth the yellow card, I guess, by Simo. Shows the experience that they knew Brunswick were on the break, and he's brought him down.
Centre-back position has been a bit of a tumultuous one in recent rounds for Kingston. Of course, both Simo Jovanovic and Faisal Sakizada missing with injury at times. Not for long term, but certainly enough to cause that backline a bit of instability. Golden Valley, of course, beating this side 5-1 at the same venue. The other side of the break would know a fair bit about that. Diadamo tries the ball forwards to Paz. That's a better one inside to Timms. Wide to Gonzalez. The cross is flat all the way across. And nearly Dante Conte still having two bites of the cherry, and neither of them was particularly tasty from Dante Conte. He skewed the initial clearance quite violently, tried to atone with a sort of half quad, half kneecap clearance. And
fantastic ball in. It fizzed across.
Yeah.
They're the balls that cause so many defenders problems, as you just seen.
Thomas Biss, given a lifeline by Dante Conte, could only send his shot right in to his marker. Perhaps he was shocked to have had the chance in the first place. Biss. Michaela. Diadamo wants a better passing option. Went short to Wong. Eventually it fell to nothing. Wong, game's only goal scorer so far, switches across, trying to find the angle. Macarunas now with Biss. Good work from Dante Conte. A lot more clean and composed from his previous effort. Biss loses out. Spartans will turn it over as Jesse Macarunas, whose final touch saw the ball trickle over the line. Timms. Plenty of aerial battles this evening. Conte winning that one. Paz controls with the outside of the boot and wheels around nicely. Space to attack on the left. Options in the middle. Macarunas! The flicked on header kisses the top of the crossbar. The two substitutes nearly combining for something quite special.
Yeah, great ball in by Alessandro Paz, and he's found Macarunas free as a bird, just on top of the 6-yard box, but he couldn't keep his header down. Great chance.
Again, that's the quality that Brunswick City have got to toy with. Both Paz and Macarunas, quality players at this level. Off air. Kingston have been a little bit out of it in the last 10 minutes. I think since that free kick, really. The substitutes did come onto the field for Brunswick. It's been a game controlled by the team in white.
Since you made that comment.
You had to say that, didn't you? Michaela. Good interception from the fullback, who's put himself very nicely in this game and also in this position on the left flank. Chance to attack. Goes to Paz. Twisting and turning, trying to find the angle. Run out of options in the end. And Conte made the clearance.
Yeah, great challenge by Dante Conte. Put it out for a throw. And Alessandro Paz has caused a couple of problems since coming on.
Certainly has. It's given the back four for Kingston a lot more to think about since Paz and Macarunas have come on. Important to remember that both centre-backs as well for Kingston City on yellow cards, Jovanovic and Sakazada. And there may be another Kingston defender getting ready to go in the book there because Dante Conte clamped down on the back of George Michaela.
Yeah, very unnecessary, I think. There's no need to put that challenge in and receive that yellow, but now 3 of the 4 central defenders are all on yellows. If you contact Galagas, do you look to make a change? Bring on one of the Miller brothers?
See, the thing is that one of the Miller brothers, unless you know which one it is, doesn't really narrow it down. There are quite a few of them. We're talking about Josh Miller, a player who certainly could come on and be defensive cover.
Funny enough, they're all defenders.
They're not all defenders, but even so,
Most of them are.
a lot of them are. Matt, Hamish, Josh as well. Probably 6 or 7 others that we don't even know about. Brunswick City on the free kick. Macarunas sends it in. Sakazada's clearance gets a kind deflection, not in the path of goal, but over the line for a Kingston City goal kick. It's an important aerial duel coming up for Kingston. A lot of yells to win it, and Trent Skapetis does exactly that. Get the throw from the linesman, but not without a few expletives. Hopefully the effects mic didn't pick those up too clearly. Skapetis loses out to Austin Wong. And Kingston bring the press, but they're a good possessive side, Brunswick. They know how to find those gaps when the press does come. They're trying to find an opening here. That pass from Wong really in between the two options as Sakazada puts Sermon Sadakovsky under quite a lot of pressure. Not something that you need when you're a second choice keeper still working off the rust.
A little bit of miscommunication, I reckon that was. But they survived. It looks like Brunswick are going to make a third change here. Nathaniel Foster. Looks like they're not happy with the 1-0 win.
No, not content with two premier attacking options off the pine. Brunswick City will look to make it a hat-trick. And Nate Foster will make his way onto the field of play. Not at this stoppage, but perhaps at the next. Lipschatz, a bit of an acrobatic clearance. Not quite as athletic as Faisal Sakizada's earlier, but also a lot more legal, which is really the important part.
Yeah, it wasn't as dangerous. Also got the Matilda starting in 2 minutes left.
That's true. It's a tough game for them. Again, Sweden will have to right the wrongs of the group stage. Although we're all hoping that they can do it. And Dante Conte is hoping that he could find an equaliser. But fortune not quite falling on his favour, but not by that much.
That's potentially the closest other than Trent's chance they've got hitting the scoring. And it was a great chance by Dante, the fullback. But once again, just a little bit too high, and Gifkins just survives again.
It was one of those ones that just sat up almost magically for a player in Dante Conte who doesn't always find himself in positions that far afield. But you wouldn't have known it from the quality of the effort.
100%. Nate Foster has come on. We have missed that. I don't know who he's come on for. As Paz gets in behind.
It's Nicholas Gonzalez. Paz a chance to finish the game. The little dink is wide of the post and stays in play, in fact. Sakazada will let it roll all the way out to the goal kick. Sandro Paz could have killed the game there. He's let Kingston City off the hook.
Yeah, great chance for Lissandro Paz. He tried the little sneaky dink, and it's just gone wide. He was appealing that it came off Sarah Sadakovsky, but Jack Morgan says no, it didn't.
So with that chance for Paz on the right-hand side, confirmation that it is Nicholas Gonzalez who left the field of play for Nate Foster, which pushes Foster into the centre and Paz out onto the right-hand side. Paz no stranger to playing out there. He's done so with previous clubs. Most recently Werribee City. I say recently, 2019. Ball very much in the court of Brunswick at the moment. I think Kingston are going to need to find an extra level if they're any chance, aren't they, Dean?
Yeah, they need to get out of this second gear that they're in at the minute as the ball gets played in behind for Cooper.
Controlled well initially by Legrand. Good defensive attention that time from Darby Dexter. Again, Michaela has provided so much industry on the left channel and combined well with Thomas Biss all evening. Biss goes flat, sprays it to the edge of the penalty area on the far side. Paz. Count the step overs. The cross, no good in the end, only as far as a corner for the Spartans. Corner sent in, waiting for it was Paz. Biss. Out wide to Diadamo. Italian tries to clip that one in. Again, good clearing work from Kingston City. Problem is they're doing a little bit too much clearing, not quite enough scoring. Petreski forward to off-air. It's just muscled on the ball by Yoni Lipschatz. Easy decision for Jack Morgan to make. Petreski isn't too happy with his options further afield, so goes horizontally to Simo Jovanovic. Now with Conte. Skapetis is ahead of him with George Michaela for company. Trying to find the angle for the cross. It's a good looking one, but collected well. Straight into the grateful palms of Jordan Gifkins.
Yeah, another good ball into the area, but unfortunately for Kingston, no one attacking the ball, and Gifkins has an easy claim.
Skapetis has picked up this one. That cross, not quite as threatening, in fact. I say not quite, not really threatening at all. Jack Morgan urging Brunswick to speed this throw process up a little bit more. Kingston substitutes are trying to do that as well. 12 minutes left. It's a little bit early to start the time wasting, but you take whatever you can get.
It's never too early.
Spot the goalkeeper amongst us. Michaela trying to find Biss. Pass was cut out by Hansa-Costas. Result, if it keeps the same for the remaining 12 minutes plus stoppage time, would see Brunswick City take an outright lead on first place, 3 points ahead of Pascoe Vale, which they drew over North Geelong 2-2 at the weekend. Crucially, they'd be 3 points ahead, Brunswick, with a game in hand, so a massive result if they can keep it. Kingston City have got something to say about that, however. As Giordano Marafiotti battles with Jesse Macaronis. The latter of the two going into the book. So Kingston City get another change, one that we suspected may come through. The carded Simo Jovanovic makes way for Josh Miller. Definitely Josh Miller, not one of his other siblings, who are also defenders.
It looks like the fourth official is making him take off his skin stop because it's white. And not red. Which you thought that would have been checked before the game.
It is interesting how those things manage to slip through the cracks, isn't it?
Might have to bring that up with Jack Morgan after the game, I reckon.
Nothing against the fourth official. He is doing his job. Those are the rules. Whether it's slightly colder now, Josh Miller likes them or not. Immediately he's in the thick of the action. The little flick on to Legrand. Ball falls out. It was Skapetis trying to win it. Kept in play by Michaela, and this is a promising opportunity in transition. Potentially for Brunswick City. It's Thomas Biss, held up well by Petreski, who continues to amble his way forwards. Nate Foster, I suspect he was offside, trying to leave that one for Lissandro Paz. It's now with Nate Foster, who's played well. The cut back to Biss. In fact, it was to Macaronis, who signs, seals, and delivers the 3 points for Brunswick City.
Yeah, fantastic counter-attack by Brunswick, and I guess that's the benefit of having the quality of players that he bring on off the bench. And Jesse Macaronis just goes bang. Nothing Sadokowski could do, and unfortunately for Kingston, they find themselves 2-0 down with about 10 minutes to play.
Well, again, a little bit in a similar fashion to the goal they scored in the first half. They just flicked the switch and created the quality out of nowhere. It was an exchange between Lipschatz and Nate Foster down the right-hand side. And Nate Foster hasn't been too involved in the game so far, but his most important piece of action so far is that assist for Jesse Macaronis. It was a perfect cutback, really. Great weight on it, perfect direction. And that's goal number 7 for Jesse Macaronis for the season.
Great finish as well by Jesse.
It really was. And goal number 2 for the Spartans in this game. Foster again, given one to chase. Brunswick City not showing signs of slowing down. They're confident of a third. Foster won't be able to find one with that pass, not quite through the gap. Marafiotti to Petreski. Ball over the top by Lipschatz. Asking a lot of Paz. Of course, he's a substitute, so he's got plenty of energy still left in the tank to expend. Legrand collects that clearance. Also collects a little bit of Kobe Timms. All the way back to Jordan Gifkins. Probably now will be able to lean into the goalkeeper school of time wasting. Much to the frustration of
Dante Conte. And half-time in the other game, Bulleen Northcote, and it's 0-0.
Sakazada had to be clean there with Foster on his left shoulder. Was. So too was Cavadas as he headed himself into a dangerous pocket. This is good press from Brunswick, but they're not able to win it. Conte looping that ball over the top. Lipschatz had to be perfect with the clearance. Made clean contact. Petreski puts that one over for a Spartan throw. For any chance, they need a goal now. Skapetis will try and do it as well. Past the far post from Trent Skapetis. Sometimes, when the odds are stacked against your favour, you need to pull it out of the hat. It was close from Trent Skapetis.
Yeah, another chance just goes inches wide for Kingston, and I think that's been the difference. The chances just haven't found the target and tested Jordan Gifkins too much.
It really did whistle wide from Skapetis. It's those chances that unfortunately have burned time and again this evening. That's another one that goes begging, this time for Brunswick City. Sandro Paz found offside. It's Offair who wins the aerial duel. Continue to battle for clean possession. Brunswick will have the ball from the side as we get into the final 5 minutes of regulation time. Brunswick with a commanding lead, courtesy of goals from Austin Wong and Jesse Macaronis either side of the half. Conte going down there. That's Acostas on the far side. never fault the endeavour of Stephen Hatzikostas. He's a very consistent performer at the base of midfield.
Yeah, he's got a lot of experience as well, and he's just a breadwinner, isn't he? Doesn't like losing and gets very frustrated very easily.
That was a poor crossfield pass from Sakazada. Luckily, not one that presents too much danger. Makarunas was giving pressure. Foster gave away the free kick, and eventually Jack Morgan will bring it back for the earlier infringement. Made Foster a touch overzealous in his efforts to win back the ball in that press.
Yeah, look, it wasn't the best of challenges, but it was good to see Jack try to play advantage.
Makarunas across the Paz. Pretty ugly challenge from Stephen Hatzikostas, just as we were singing his praises. Cleans up one of his opposite numbers.
Yeah, look, it wasn't the best of challenges, but you can tell that it was just relieving a little bit of frustration that you could tell that was building for him. But yeah, as Jack Morgan comes across, yellow card, and game continues.
Not the best of challenges is putting it pretty nicely.
Could have been a lot worse.
It's true. So definitely a glass half full man is Dean Manair.
Do you reckon they forgot to change the scoreboard deliberately, or?
It is a good question. It is a good question, one that we will ask at the end of this broadcast. Your eyes, if you are basing your knowledge of the scoreline only off the portable scoreboard here at the Grange Reserve, it is not 1-0 to Brunswick. It is in fact 2. Pass.
1-0 in the half.
Foster. Inside, Makarunas. Sprays across. Biss. Once the angle will go low. Didn't quite get the curl.
Yeah, I think he's hit the ground a little bit before he's had his shot, but once again, Brunswick look very dangerous when they go forward.
There's just so much firepower for the Kingston City defence to contend with. Miller, chested well by Legrand. Out to Skipettis. Has been Kingston's most likely route to goal. Thought about the shot there. Instead pushes out to Petreski. Collected by Dexter. They haven't been under too much pressure. The Brunswick backline, but particularly Dexter has stood up when required. That ball controlled by Cooper Legrand. Couldn't connect the manoeuvre, however. But that was a much better touch than some of the ones we've seen him take inside the penalty area.
Oh, yeah, would make the last 2 and a bit minutes plus stoppage time a world of interest.
Certainly flipped the script quite some. It's an interesting ball. Sakazada waiting for it. All the way on the other side. Unfortunately not connecting other than to push it out for a Spartans throw. Dexter, little outside the foot pass, not too pretty, straight to Petreski. Now it falls to Cavadas, who himself falls onto the turf and had a good handful.
It was Trent Skipettis.
That's Trent Skipettis, in fact, who had a good handful over the shirt of Yoni Lipschatz. I know it is a pretty nice Brunswick City kit, but you can do that sort of thing after the game. Gifkins being urged on by Kingston City eventually does send it forward for Foster. He got the flick on, not to a teammate, only to Philip Petreski.
minutes.
4 minutes of stoppage time. Probably, you'd think, rules come back out of the equation, but still time enough for a goal for either side, be it further confirmation for Brunswick or consolation for Kingston. Sakazada, the diagonal, looking for Marafiotti. Flick on towards Foster. Sakazada will get to it first. I thought he turned it straight over to Nate Foster. But it must have taken a nick off the Spartans' number 33. Sadakowski straight into touch. That's a frustrating one for Kontangalakis.
Bit like my golf shot, that. A little bit of a little bit of a hook straight out of the park.
Played minute 1 of stoppage time. Lipschatz will have the throw. Controlled by Paz. Sakazada, risky turn, but he made it look perhaps more composed than it was. It certainly fooled Lysandro Paz. Good little shimmy from Trent Skapetis. He was held up by Kobe Timms. Certainly him getting very physical in stoppage time. Maybe a result of Brunswick trying to slow this one down and make it a sure thing.
It's boiling the last couple of minutes, hasn't it? The water.
Simmering away. This game slipping away for Kingston. They'll be stuck as things stand. Of course, the live ladder has Northcote City getting just the 1 point so far at the Veneto Club, 0-0 against Bulleen. We have Kingston tied this loss with Goulburn Valley Suns and Lang Warren, with Kingston City sitting in 5th after you calculate all the goal difference. And not a place that a month ago Kingston and Kontangalakis would have expected to be. Nice ball. Miller rising for it. Cleared away. This could be a good chance for Nate Foster. Sermon Sadakowski's off his line. It was inch perfect. The danger is not quite averted, however. And perhaps now it is. Conte sends that one up and buys his keeper enough time to get back into position. So Nate Foster was offside. Pulled back for an earlier infringement in favour of Brunswick City. Ivan Diadamo takes quickly, goes flat to Makarunas, who would fancy a second, and he did. He could only find the midriff, or perhaps worse for Sakazada. Certainly did enough to get the block. Any body part will do. Paz, cutting in and then out. Not finding a gap. Lipschatz, however. Nice ball to Makarunas. He's got Nate Foster in the middle. Didn't choose that option in the end. Spartans go all the way back. So they just, as the stoppage time minutes continue to slip away, start to sit comfortably, I think.
There it is.
On the NPL2 throne. I said they were sitting comfortably on it. Now they can kick their feet up as well, because Brunswick City will take an outright grip of the top spot on the NPL2 table after they ran out 2-0 winners against Kingston City here at the Grange Reserve tonight. Kingston showed signs that they were up for the fight early doors, But then Brunswick were a bit like a boa constrictor as the game went on. They just kept on turning and tightening, and eventually they suffocated Kingston inside the first half. Of course, Austin Wong found the opening goal on 37 minutes, a well-constructed move by the team. And then in the second half, the attacking firepower came to the fore off the bench. Nate Foster, Lissandro Paz, and most crucially, Jesse Macaronis, the firepower that came on and outgunned Kingston in the second half as Macaronis added a second one with a sublime finish that put the game to bed and allowed the Spartans, Brunswick City, to steal ahead a march on Pascoe Vale. 3 points they lead with a game in hand on the NPL2 table now. Dean Minette, your thoughts on that 90?
Yeah, it was a fantastic game. Kingston started off the better of the sides, but the quality that Brunswick possessed through their 20 players was just superb. And their 16 players today, the 3 subs, Jesse Macaronis, Lissandro Paz and Nathaniel Foster, have absolutely caused problems.
The squad runs deep for Brunswick City, and so too does the quality. It's allowed them to rule the roost in the NPL2, but will it continue to the end of the season? Only time will tell. And for the NPL Victoria, I've been Lockie Flanagan. He's been Dean Minette. We hope to have you back in the stands soon, but until then, in Streamland, enjoy your time, and it's goodbye for now.